Hello everyone, my name is Yasin. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up mod Mellon with Apache using Okta as an IDP. For those who don't know, mod Mellon is an authentication module for Apache. It allows you to add single sign-on functionality to your applications. In this example, I'm going to be using Apache as a reverse proxy. I'm not going to be hosting any application directly on Apache. Uh, for the sake of this demo, we're going to be assuming that we have two backend applications, backend 1 and backend 2. And this is a good idea for those who have multiple backend application. So instead of going to the applications and configure custom authentication, it's a great way to integrate single sign-on to your application without the need to add custom codes or anything. For those who don't know, SAML is authentication protocol. You have two flows. You have the IDP initiated flow and the SP initiated flow, which depend on the user how he's trying to access the application. So using Okta, you can authenticate directly to Okta, and then from Okta you can use your user dashboard to open your application shortcut, which that what we call IDP initiated flow because you already logged into Okta and you want to access the protected application. In this case, the user is going to be logged into Okta already, and then he's trying to access the application from Okta dashboard. In this case, Okta is going to give the browser the SAML assertion, and this SAML assertion will have the data that need to be forwarded to. There will be the URL for the Apache reverse proxy. So the browser going to forward this SAML assertion using post or redirect, or however we're going to be configuring this. And once the Apache receive that assertion, is going to be validating that based on the trust we're going to build between Apache and Okta. We're going to be exchanging metadata. And once that is validated, it's going to reply to the browser with a session cookie, which is actually a session key, and any further request coming from the browser to the backend application will have the same cookie, and then any further request will be allowed. So that's the flow from the IDB initiated flow. The user also can access the application directly. So he can type, for example, in this example, he can type in the browser app1.offsig.com. In this case, usually he won't be using any session key. So Apache is not going to be seeing any tokens. So in this case, it's going to redirect the browser to Okta for authentication, sending some authentication request. And then the browser is going to be redirected to Okta. The user is going to be entering his login credentials. It's two-factor authentication. And then the same flow goes back again that the Okta is going to send the browser the assertion. Assertion going to be sent back to Apache, and Apache is going to validate and then send the session cookie. So that's good to know because you need to know the flow, and you need to know that this session cookie or this session key is have an expiration timeout value that you can customize from Apache. You can also customize some timers from Okta. We're going to see that in a bit. So the configuration steps that we have is very straightforward. We're going to install Apache and dependency. We're going to be installing compiling mod Oswell from the source. This is how we make sure that we get the latest version. We're gonna also enable some required modules, and we're gonna load the module into Apache, and then we're gonna configure the authentication exchange the metadata, creating the applications on Okta, creating Apache configuration file, and finally we're gonna be configuring single logout, where the user can, when the user log out from Okta, it trigger post or redirect requests to the application, the backend application, to also invalidate this session key or session token. So that way, you ensure that if the user is using like a public PC or something, and then he logged out from Okta, he's no longer have access to all of your applications behind that reverse proxy. So let's get started. All right, let's get started. Here on the right, I have all the command that I'm gonna need. I created this for simplicity, and here we have an Ubuntu server that's freshly installed, have nothing installed. So let's install all the required packages. All right, once that's done, let's now download mod Mellon from the source. Please make sure that you use this repo. These guys don't have the maintained version. We're gonna enter the package. We're gonna configure the package with diagnostics. This is good for if you want to enable the diagnostics, you have to build with the diagnostics. So I'm already doing that in case you need to troubleshoot anything. So I'm gonna take that and do it right here. It seems that I could take only the first two. Let's do the other ones. let's do the make and make install. And if you have anything that is not installed during the first commands, that any packages that didn't install, you're gonna have this build is not gonna be completed. So it's a good sign that we are in a good position. So here you can see that it installed all the modules. All right. So and it's gonna be over there in the Apache modules. All right. Let's now enable the modules. All right. This is the required modules. Let's now restart Apache. All right. So yeah, the service is running. So at this moment, we're ready to configure our Apache configuration. All right, so first thing first, we're going to be adding this command load module on Auth Mellon into the Apache configuration file. So let's do this. All right, just to verify, let's go to the file. All right, and yeah, we can see that we loaded the module. Let's verify that by restarting the service. And if it's come out clear that, then we know that we loaded the module into Apache. And if you need to verify that you have all the required module, you can do Apache control -m. That will give you all the modules installed. You can see that Auth Mellon module is already loaded, so we are in a good position. Mellon as a plugin gonna be appending here its URL. So once I execute that, you can see that it created for me a metadata file, XML metadata file, and two certificate pair, private key and certificate. I'm also gonna show you this is the app we're gonna be working with, and this is what I say. It took that endpoint URL and added the logout and the post response service. So this is gonna be used with Okta. I'm gonna show you how in a minute. All right, so here on the right, you will see that I have Okta open, the admin console. We're going to create an application integration. This is from the menu, application, create app integration. We're going to be using SAML. And then let's call it let's give it a name. Let's say app1. All right. All right, so here is the single sign-on URL. Remember this, we generated this from the script. So this is going to be our single sign-on URL. All right. And then the entity ID, this is the entity ID we created already. So this is the entity ID we created from the script. All right. At this moment, we don't need to modify anything else. Just accept anything, accept the default configuration, and then finish. As you can see, if you click the metadata details, the metadata URL here, this is the metadata. If you open that, this is the metadata that mod Osman is going to be using to trust any requests coming from Okta and vice versa. So we're gonna need to copy this to mod Osmelon, and we're gonna be using this for the sake of integration. All right, for the simplicity, let's make a directory in HC Apache 2 SAML. All right, so it's already there. So I already created the area, but let's copy all of the generated files into that directory. All right, so we created these files into. Let's also in that directory. Let's also download that metadata from Okta that we generated earlier. Let's take that. All right, let's see. All right, so we have the metadata. Okay, so let's copy that too. And let's call it IDP metadata XML. All right. All right, so next thing is to create our configuration file. Okay, this is Apache configuration file. So let's create another file. We can call it with the name of our application. That makes it easy for you. Okay, so let's go over it really quickly. This is the server name. We're using SSL proxy. We're proxying to this one, proxying to this backend application. So this can be anywhere, but for the simplicity, we're gonna be reverse passing this to backend a simple web page. This is our certificate that we're gonna be used for the Apache. Assuming that you have these certificates, if you have your own certificate, just make sure to update these. This is the Mellon diagnostics. In case you need to enable the diagnostic, to remember when we build from the source, we build using the diagnostics. This is if you didn't do this that way, you won't be able to enable the diagnostics and get the data of the diagnostics. And this is really helpful in case there is anything that went wrong and you need to identify where is the issue. So here is the Models Melon, most of the configuration. We doing it. You can do it in any location you want. I'm doing it for all the locations. So if you have like a specific location or directory need to be protected using the authentication, you can do it right here. Maybe this will be like secret or login or whatever. But I'm doing it for anything. You can refer to the documentation for mod Mellon. I will post that in the description. But usually here we're saying that we require authentication for this location, and we're going to be using Mellon for authentication. This is the endpoint I mentioned before in when we created our metadata. We pointed this as the endpoint. Make sure that if you're going to be creating more apps, each app has its own endpoint, and here require valid user. We're gonna be setting this as cookie. Gonna be secure. This is the timeout I mentioned. This is the timeout for the session key. And here we say that where is the files. All right, so it needs actually 4 files. It needs the application service providers metadata that we generated, and the certificates, the key and the public key and the private key. And we also need the Okta IDP or any IDP metadata you're gonna be using, and that's it. So that should be good. I'm gonna be generating these certificates, and we're gonna give it a test. Okay. So I have generated the certificates that we're gonna be using with Apache. These certificates I have generated these certificates and put it in the directories as shown here. Uh, but I'm assuming that this is gonna be your corporate certificates and your certificate for host generated for your host names or application. So this is simply a self-signed certificate. So next thing is gonna be enabling the sites we just created. I'm gonna enable that site, and next thing we need to reload the Apache to make sure that we don't have any syntax error or misconfiguration. Right, so as you can see here, we have some issue. I think this is might be related to missing file or something. Let's check this out. All right, so as you can see, I can find the app1-sp.xml. Let's verify it. Oh, it's underscore, it's not dash. All right, so all of it is underscore. All right, so let's fix this. All right, let's restore Apache again. And we can see it's loaded correctly. So now we need to test. All right, so for this demo, I have created this web server. As I mentioned, this is just for testing. This is assuming that this is our backend application, and we can see that we can access this backend application directly. So let's now try to access the same application using Apache models Mellon or Apache generally using HTTPS. All right, as you can see, it already redirected me to Okta, But Okta, I already signed out to Okta on the other tab, so that's why it didn't prompt me to authenticate again. So Okta find out that this application is not assigned to this user. So that's good. Now let's go back here and assign this user to this application. So I'm assigning myself, all right? And now let's try it again. As you can see, I'm authenticated and I already can access the application through Apache. If you need to verify that and you need to see from the logs which user is connecting, of course, there is an advanced techniques that you can pass the environment variables to your backend application. You can and your backend application can detect the logged in user. But for the sake of simplicity, let's now get to Apache logs. Okay. All right, so if you see here, you'll find another log file called other vhost access log. This is actually is being created by a mod Auth Mellon. So let's see. All right, so if you can see here, you'll see the user already accessed. Already, this is the username that has accessed, and yeah, that's it. So we can see that we can be authenticated. If you need to verify more, we can like do this and do like private window and try to access. You'll see it's not gonna be working redirected for authentication. So that's good, right? And you can do this with any application you have. I'm going to show you how to quickly create another application using the same configuration and the same files that we have. All right, for our application 2, app 2, we have created the backend. This is our backend listening on port 8080. And we need to create application on Okta, and we need to create configuration file on Apache with also the same file structure. But it's gonna be easier because I can reuse the same certificates and the same metadata. I just have to modify our copied metadata. Let's see how we can do it. All right. So let's go to our configuration file. All right, we see here our application app one. Let's create another one. Okay, so we have our app two. Let's first change the host name and let's change the port. This is for the backend. Okay, we're going to be using the same certificates. Here is what makes it different. This is the endpoint for this application. And we're going to be have this also app2 service provider, same certificate, app2 IDP, because can be the same. Right? So we're going to have to create another application on Okta and download the metadata again into the same directory using that name. All right, so let's save that. And let's head to our SAML directory. We can see here we have app1 and app2. We're going to also need to modify app1 service provider metadata. So let's copy that to app2. All right, so let's modify the values. We're only going to be like changing the name, the entity ID, we're going to be the same. All right, so we're going to be also changing at the end of the file, you will see the ACS and the single logout URL. So this one and this one. Make sure to update also the endpoint. This is the endpoint URL, as I mentioned. Over here too, we have, I think we're good now. Yeah, all right. So now we need the only thing we need is the Okta metadata. So let's create another application in Okta, same as we did the last one, app2. Okay, so here we can get that from also the metadata. It's the same. I can also type it. That's gonna be fine. This is the single sign-on, which refer here to ACS here. So it's going to be app2.offsec.com/app2/ gonna be post response. And if you need to find out where is that in the metadata, let's do that again. And gonna be at the end of our file, ACS URL. It's gonna be that URL, that one. App2 post response, and it's case sensitive, so make sure to copy and paste that one. And we have our entity ID is going to be the same, except it's going to be here service provider. This is only to identify that one. And this is also going to be here at the top. This is the entity descriptor. This is it. Oh, we forgot to change that one. So let's do it. All right, so I think we're good to go. Uh, let's also, while we're here, assign the user to this application. All right, now we need the metadata. So I'm gonna copy that URL. I'm gonna wget output. Gonna be app2 underscore idp.xml. All right, let's do sudo. All right, so we got that file. So now we should have app1 IDP and SP, app2 IDP and SP. So we should be good to go. Let's now enable the site. All right, site's enabled. Let's now reload. All right, we're good to go. Let's now try to access again. So this is the backend. It's working. Let's try to access this HTTPS. As you can see, this is the certificate because this is self-signed. Let's try again. Oh, I think it's just related to the backend. Let's verify that the backend is configured correctly. All right, it's, oh yeah, I can see. I mistyped that one. 8080. Let's now reload. Let's try it again. Yeah, and you can see we can access that directly. And we can also access app1, same. Okay, we can also verify that from the logs. Yeah, so this is app1, this is my username, and if you scroll down, yeah, this is app2, and this is the this is it. And as I mentioned, you can store that in environment variable and then pass that to your backend application. So next thing is to configure the single logout. So as you can see, if I did log out from Okta here, now I'm not logged into Okta anymore. I should be also logged out from application, but as you can see, I'm still logged into my application. It should redirect me to authenticate back to Okta. This is what we're going to be doing in the next step. So for single logout to work, you need to tell the browsers that whenever you did log out from Okta, go and trigger logout also to this application you already have session with. So these directions already come from Okta. So whenever you trigger an authentication logout from Okta, Okta should send information to the browser that say that these URLs you have to post to these URLs or redirect to these URLs in case you need to log out from these applications also. So this is what we call front channel single logout, and it's a feature. It's early release in Okta, so you need to enable that feature. Okay, it's gonna be under setting feature. You need to enable that feature, front channel single logout. So what will happen here whenever you log out from Okta, Okta is gonna be triggering a single logout. Not Okta, it's gonna be forwarding to your browser. So it's gonna be front end. Your browser is gonna be sending these logout requests to the application. Where is the URL that the browser is gonna be sending to is gonna be related to every application. For example, if you go to your application here after enable the feature in the application settings, logout thing, yeah, and edit here, yeah. So this is where Okta gonna be sending the where is the URL here. So we're gonna be specifying the URL here, and it's gonna be also available from our metadata. Is gonna be when you saw our metadata, there was two URLs at the end of our metadata file. One for the ACS, which is the single URL, and the other was the logout URL. So let's configure these. So for Okta to work to do the single logout thing, it needs to have the public key for the service provider to just verify the requests. So this is a security feature. You have to upload the certificate, the public key. Remember the Mellon.cert? certificate we're going to be using for all of our applications, and this is why I already using the same certificate for all of my applications, because it's going to make it easier to upload this for all of my applications. So what you need here is you're going to need to go here and you see signature certificate. This is the certificate for your Mellon. So I uploaded this, and let's now save it. And this can be self-signed certificate, does not need to be like generated certificate or something, because it's just going to be used for the trust relationship between Okta and Mod Osman. So next thing is going to be getting these logout URLs. All right, so for the single logout URLs, it's going to be at the bottom of your metadata files. So let's take for app1, for example, let's do app1. We need the service provider. And you can see it's redirect. I'm going to change this to be post instead of redirect. That's how it's easier for me to trace it on the browsers. So let's change this. All right. Okay. So this binding is going to be post. And this is the URL. It's the same URL as everything. Instead of post response for login, it's going to be logout for logging out. So let's take this copy. All right. And let's get back to Okta. And if you scroll down below SAML settings, you will see logout settings. Edit that one. You need to choose this one, the app participates. And here's the URL. And we're going to do a post. We're going to see. And so now we should be good to test this. Let's verify it just for a second that we have changed this to post. All right. Okay. So in order to test if the browser has been receiving this post request, is going to this logout URL to verify that Okta configuration is working properly. So this is my Okta dashboard. I'm going to be opening these apps again, and I'm going to be also triggering the logout from here. Let's first monitor the requests, and then let's do the logout. So if you see here, you will find the request that goes to this URL. It's a post request. But if you refresh that one, we'll see it's still logged in. This is an error, a common error in mod of Mellon, and I'm gonna show you how to get past this error. So also check your error logs and Apache error logs. You will see error like this. It says that I cannot process the logout request because there is no session found. So there is a function that I check for these sessions inside mod Mellon, and for some reason it's not working. So what we're gonna do is gonna be going to the code to this function and comment this function out. So and then gonna be rebuilding again our mod Mellon, and it should work after that. So let's go do that. All right. So getting back to our mod Mellon directory that we used to build from, this is the source we downloaded at the beginning of our video. If you can see, there is a specific file that handles all the logic. This is all Auth Mellon handler. So we need to open that file. All right, and we need to go to line 820. So this is the function that handle the logout. This is the function that validate the logout if there is a session. And we could see from the logs that it's always returning null. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove that function alone. Okay, so I'm gonna remove that function. All right, so also if you can see this this F statement, also check if that response that we just deleted, so we don't need that too. And I think that error too is used to appear on all of my logout requests, so I also like to delete that log. And this one too. So remember these changes, and I'm gonna be saving, exiting, and remember that we need to rebuild this Pre-build this the same as we did the at the beginning. So we build this like we configure, but let's make clean first. So we need to make sure that we start clean. All right. So now let's try to configure it again. All right. So let's do the sudo make. And if you missed something or removed something by mistake, this won't complete and you will find error. So going like that, we make sure that we did good. So now we make install. All right. So now we should be using the latest updated version. That we just removed that function. All right. So let's now test. Just don't forget to restart Apache. Okay. So after restarting Apache, let's try to. I already logged into Okta. Let's try to open our applications again. I remember that we did that only for app 1, so we should be logged out only from app 1 and app 2 should be remaining working. So let's now trigger the logout. So for verification, we'll keep refreshing. And after signing out from that one, so I'm already signed out from Okta. Let's now try app 2. Should be working. Let's try app 1. As you can see, app 1 logged out perfectly. So let's now apply that for app 2 from Okta. We're just adding let's add the settings. Remember that we need to add the certificates again. So we need to add the certificate for all of our application. And now let's enable the single logout. The app participate. Let's do this. app2.offsec.com. app2 logout. Post. Save. But we need to change this from the metadata for app2. We change it only for app1. So let's do that. We need app2 SP. We need that one. Okay, let's restart Apache. We should be good to go. Let's try again. Let's give it a try. Let's start from the beginning. We authenticated to Okta. We gonna open our applications. App 1, App 2. So I should trigger logout from Okta. I should be redirecting for authentication. This is App 2 and this is App 1. So that will be it. Thank you for watching, and if you need anything, please add it in the comments. If you have any issues, please comment and we'll try to help you. Thank you so much.